In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this super comfy, cozy bobble hat. And for this one, you will use any color you want and any brand of yarn you would like. I'm also going to be using a 6.5 millimeter hook, some scissors, and a yarn needle. Round 1 begins with a magic circle. So you take your yarn, wrap it around your fingers, reach through that space there, grab your yarn, bring up your loop, hold it in place, and then you're going to let go of that tail end and get your yarn situated. Do one chain to secure your yarn, and you're ready to begin. And we're going to do 6 single crochet into this magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you've got your 6 single crochet, you're going to let go of the working yarn, grab that tail, and give it a pull. So that way your hole closes up. We're going to place a stitch marker on that stitch that's on the hook to mark where your next row begins. We'll be increasing in each stitch, and we're not going to slip stitch. We're just going to go straight into that next stitch and do our single crochet. So 2 single crochets into each stitch. There's 1. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. One more. And then once you've reached the end, you're going to take your stitch marker and move it around that loop that's on your hook. And you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you should have 12 stitches at the end of row 2. 3, we're going to start doing our bobble stitches. So this first stitch that we have, we're going to do our first bobble stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, bring up a loop, and you're going to do that 4 times. So yarn over, insert your hook, bring up a loop, yarn over, insert hook, bring up a loop. That's 3 and 4. Now you're going to take and grab your yarn and go through all of those loops. And we're not going to chain here. We're going to go straight into our next stitch, which will be our increase. So we're going to do 2 single crochet into this next stitch. So for your repeating sequence, it'll be 1 bobble stitch followed by an increase. So 1 bobble stitch and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So our next one will be the bobble stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Grab the yarn, go through all the loops, then increase on the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2. And you'll just keep repeating that all the way around. Next is our bobble stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab your yarn, pull through all the loops, and then do your increase in the next stitch. Okay. And you'll continue that until you've reached the end of your round. Here I am coming up to the end of round 3. I just did my final bobble stitch, so now I will do my increase in this last stitch. And all together you should have 18 stitches. So the bobble counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So 18 stitches all the way around. Move your stitch marker. For round 4, we're going to do 2 single crochet followed by an increase. So here's our first stitch. So there's 1, 2, and then our next stitch will be our increase. So 2 single crochet into that next stitch. And that will be your repeating sequence all the way around. So you'll go 1, 2, and an increase. 1, 2, and an increase. And so you'll just continue to do that sequence all the way to the end of the round. And here I am coming up to the end of my round. I just did my increase. So now I'll go 1, 2, and you should end the round with an increase. And at the end of round 4, you should have a total of 24 stitches. And you'll move your stitch marker. For round 5, we're going to do 3 single crochet followed by an increase. So beginning in that next stitch, 1, 2, 3, and then increase in the next stitch. So this stitch gets 2 stitches. There you go, and that will be your repeating sequence all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, followed by the increase. And you'll continue doing that until you've reached the end of the round. And here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did an increase. So now I'll do 1, 2, 3, and you should end with that last stitch getting the increase. And at the end of this row, you should have a total of 30 stitches. And it's time to move that stitch marker. For round 6, we're going to do 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next stitch gets the increase, so 2 stitches into the next stitch. And that will be your repeating sequence for the remainder of this round. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by the increase. And you'll continue doing that until you've reached the end of round 6. And here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did 4 single crochet, and this final stitch will get the increase. So 2 stitches into that one. And we can move the stitch marker. And at the end of round 6, you should have a total of 36 stitches all the way around. For round 7, we're going to do some more bobble stitches. So your repeating sequence will be 1 bobble stitch, followed by 1 single crochet, and you're going to do that 2 times. So 1 bobble, 1 single crochet, 1 bobble, 1, 2, and then another single crochet, and then we're going to do 1 bobble, and then the next stitch gets the increase. So 2 stitches into this next stitch. So that will be your repeating sequence. You'll do 1 bobble, 1 single crochet, 1 bobble, 1 single crochet, 1 bobble, and then an increase. So we'll go through that one more time. So we'll do 1 bobble, 1 single crochet, 1 bobble, 1 single crochet, 1 bobble, and then the increase. And that will be your repeating sequence all the way to the end of the round. And here I'm coming up to the end of my row. I just did a bobble and I'm ending with the increase in the last stitch. And now we're ready to move the stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches. For round 8, we're going to be doing a repeating sequence of 6 single crochet followed by an increase. And we're just going to go straight into that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the next stitch gets the increase. So 2 stitches into that stitch. And that will be your repeating sequence all the way around. So I just did my increase, so now I will do 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the next stitch gets the increase. So continue that all the way till the end of the round. And Here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did my 6 single crochet and I will finish with the increase. And we'll move the stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 48 stitches all together. Then we're going to do a sequence of 7 single crochet followed by the increase. So starting in that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The next stitch gets your increase, so that'll be 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. And then you'll repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then increase. And you'll just continue doing that all the way to the end of your round. And here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did 7 single crochet. This last stitch will get the increase. And we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 54 stitches all the way around. For round 10, we're going to do a sequence of 8 single crochet followed by the increase. So beginning in that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next stitch gets your increase, so 2 single crochets into this following stitch. And you will continue to repeat that. So we just did the increase, so now we'll do 8 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the next stitch gets your increase. And you will continue that all the way to the end of your round. And here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did my 8 single crochet. This last stitch will get the increase. Move the stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 60 stitches all the way around. And you'll notice that it's starting to take its shape a little bit. For round 11, we're going to do another round with the bobble stitches. And we're going to start by doing 1 bobble and 1 single crochet 4 times. So yarn over and do your bobble stitch. And then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So there's 1. And then your single crochet, makes 2, and another bobble stitch, and a single crochet, and that makes 3. And we'll do another bobble stitch, and a single crochet. Okay, so we started out with 1 bobble followed by 1 single crochet, and we did that 4 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to do 1 bobble, and the next stitch gets the increase. Okay, so that's your repeating sequence all the way around. So you'll start doing a bobble followed by a single crochet, and you'll do that 4 times. So bobble, single, bobble, single, bobble, single, bobble, single, and then you'll do a bobble followed by the increase. And then you'll just start again with bobble, single, bobble, single, bobble, single, 1, 2, 3, bobble, single, bobble, increase. I'll show you that one more time. So we're going to do the bobble stitch followed by a single crochet 4 times, so there's 1, two, there's 3, and there's 4 of our bobble, single, bobble, single, bobble, single, bobble, single. So you did that 4 times. Now we'll do the bobble, and then this next stitch gets the increase. And you'll continue doing that all the way to the end of your round. Here I'm coming up to the end of my row. I just repeated the bobble followed by the single crochet 4 times. Now I did my bobble, and this last stitch will get the increase. And we're ready to move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 66 stitches all the way around. Don't worry if your edges are starting to kind of look a little ruffly, it'll all work itself out. For round 12, our repeating sequence will be 10 single crochet followed by the increase. So we'll start right there in that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and then your next stitch gets the increase. And that will be your repeating sequence all the way around to the end of the row. So you'll do 10 single crochet followed by your increase. And here I'm coming up to the end of my round. I just did my 10 single crochet. This last stitch will get the increase. Then we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 72 stitches altogether. For round 13, your repeating sequence will be 11 single crochet followed by the increase. So start in this first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then our next stitch will be the increase. So do 2 single crochet into that same stitch. And that will be your repeating sequence for the remainder of the round. So 11 single crochet followed by the increase. Here I'm coming up to the end of the row. So I just did my 11 single crochet. This last stitch will get the increase. And move that stitch marker. And at the end of this row, you should have a total of 78 stitches. For round 14, your repeating sequence will be 12 single crochet followed by the increase. So starting in that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then this next stitch gets the increase. So 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. And that will be your repeating sequence for the remainder of the round. So you'll do 12 single crochet followed by the increase. And here I'm coming up to the end of this round. I just did my 12 single crochet. This last stitch will get the increase. And then we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 84 stitches all the way around. We're ready to begin round 15. And for this one, the sequence will be, we're going to do 1 bobble stitch followed by 1 single crochet, and we're going to do that 6 times, and then we'll do 1 bobble stitch followed by an increase. So let's start with our first repeating thing, which will be the bobble stitch. Followed by your single crochet. So that's 1. Then we'll do another bobble stitch. Sometimes it's a little hard to get all the way through. Okay, so we just did our bobble stitch. Now we'll do our single crochet That's 2. And we're ready for another bobble stitch. And then the single crochet, that makes 3. And we'll do another bobble stitch. And a single crochet, that's 4. Followed by another bobble stitch. And a single crochet, that's 5. And bobble stitch. And a single crochet. So that makes 6. If you lose count, just count how many bobbles you have. So there's a bobble and a single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one made 6. Now we're going to do a bobble stitch. And this time we'll do the increase. So 2 stitches into this next stitch. Okay, and so that will be your repeating sequence all the way around. So you're going to do a bobble stitch followed by 1 single crochet, and you're going to do that 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you'll do 1 bobble stitch followed by your increase. And you'll continue to do that all the way to the end of the round. And here we're coming up to the end of this round. I just did my repeating bobble and 1 single crochet. I did that 6 times. Now I've done my final bobble stitch, and this last stitch will get the increase. And then we'll move the stitch marker, and at the end of this round you should have a total of 90 stitches all the way around, and it will round out once we start doing our decreases. And we're ready to begin our next 3 or 2 rounds, 16, 17, 18, 3 rounds. So round 16 through round 18, we're going to just do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So start in that first stitch there. And for round 16, 17, and 18, you'll just do 1 single crochet in each stitch, and this is where your hat will start to round out and start taking its shape. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around until you finish round 18. And here I am coming to the end of round 18. I've got 1 last stitch to do here. And we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of round 18, you should still have 90 stitches all the way around. And you can see your hat starting to take its shape. And the edges have rounded off nicely. For round 19, you're going to do a sequence of 1 bobble stitch followed by 1 single crochet, and that will be your repeating sequence for the whole round. So this first stitch, we'll get the bobble stitch, and the next one will be 1 single crochet, and that will be your repeating sequence for the whole round. So just 1 bobble stitch followed by 1 single crochet all the way around. So this is our bobble stitch, and then 1 single crochet. And you'll continue doing that all the way around. And here I'm coming up to the end of this round. I've just did my last bobble stitch, so now this stitch will get 1 single crochet, and then we'll move the stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 90 stitches. And you'll notice that it tries to curl up on you. You just keep that shape while you're stitching. And now we're ready to start our decreasing rounds. So for round 20, our repeating sequence will be 13 single crochet followed by a decrease. So we'll start in that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then we're going to do a decrease. So you're going to insert your hook, bring up your yarn, insert your hook into the following stitch, bring up your yarn, grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops, and that is a decrease. And so you'll continue to do that sequence all the way around. So 13 single crochet followed by a decrease. And here I'm coming up to the end of my row. I just did my 13 single crochet. I have the 2 stitches left to do one last decrease. And then we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of this row, you should have a total of 84 stitches. We're ready to begin round 21. For this round, your repeating sequence will be 12 single crochet followed by a decrease. And make sure when you go to start this round that you're not going into this stitch that you used for your decrease. Make sure you're going into that first stitch. So 12 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 12 single crochet followed by a decrease. So insert your hook, bring up your loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, bring up your loop, grab your yarn, pull through all 3. So for the remainder of the round, do 12 single crochet followed by your decrease. I'm coming up to the end of my round, and I just did my 12 single crochet. That leaves these last 2 stitches for my decrease. And we'll move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 78 stitches. I'm getting ready to begin round 22. For this round, your repeating sequence will be 11 single crochet followed by the decrease. So we're going to start in this first stitch over here. Again, make sure you're not using the one that your decrease was in. And we'll do 11 single crochet. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Follow that with 1 decrease. And that will be your repeating sequence for the remainder of this round. 11 single crochet followed by a decrease. And I'm coming up to the end of my row. I have 1 more decrease. And then move the stitch marker. And at the end of this row, you should have a total of 72 stitches all the way around. For round 23, you're going to do 1 bobble stitch, and follow that with 1 single crochet. And that will be your repeating sequence for the entire round. So just 1 bobble stitch, followed by 1 single crochet. And you'll continue to repeat that until you reach the end of this round. And here I'm coming to the end of the round. I just did a bobble stitch, so I've got 1 more single crochet here. And then we will move that stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should still have 72 stitches. All right, we're about ready to start on our next 3 more rounds. And so for round 24, 25, and 26, you will be doing just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So just 1 single crochet, in each stitch for rounds 24, 25, and 26. Here I'm coming up to the end of round 26. I've just got a couple more stitches left in this round. And then we will move that stitch marker. And at the end of round 26, you should still have a total of 72 stitches. For round 27, we're going to do 1 bobble stitch, and then follow that with 1 single crochet. And this will be your repeating sequence for the entire round. So just 1 bobble stitch, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and follow that with 1 single crochet. And you'll continue doing that until you reach the end of your round. Alright, I'm coming up to the end of my row. I just did a bobble stitch, so this last stitch will be a single crochet, and then we will move the stitch marker. And at the end of this round, you should still have 72 stitches. Now we're ready to begin round 28 through 30. And these next few rounds will only have one single crochet in each stitch. So just one single crochet in each stitch for rounds 28, 29, and 30. And I'm coming up to the end of round 30. Just got a couple more stitches to do. We'll move that stitch marker, and at the end of these rounds you should still have 72 stitches. And we're on our last round for this hat. It's round 31, and we're going to be doing a reverse single crochet all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that stitch marker. I'm going to have you chain one, and instead of working in this direction, we're going to be working in the opposite direction for the reverse single crochet. What you're going to do is you're going to come here to this previous stitch. We're going to skip this stitch right here and work into this stitch, and you're going to put your crochet hook into that stitch. Grab your yarn, bring up your loop, grab your yarn, and pull through both loops. And that is the reverse single crochet. So we'll do that again. We're going to come to this next stitch, insert the hook, grab the yarn, bring up the loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops. And you'll just continue to do that all the way to the end of this round. So go into the next stitch, grab your yarn, and then complete your stitch. And I'm coming up to the end of my round. This is where I began right here. I'm going to do one last stitch here. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that chain one space that we made at the beginning of this round. Here we go. And then tie it off. Grab your scissors and cut your yarn. And this is where you weave in your ends. And then you take your hat, and if you turn it inside out, that will actually be how it's supposed to be, and you can see all your little baubles are sticking out. And then at this point you just take your yarn needle and weave in your ends. We'll just run that through a few stitches to secure it. And I'm going to poke this through so it goes to the inside of the hat. Give that a snip. Take your other end here and then just weave that through a little few of the stitches. Just like so. Go back the other direction. Then you cut the excess off. And there you go. There is the bobble hat.